This lesson is for Ping golf clubs. Let's open the brief. The thing that stood out the most to me in this brief was how people like Ping golf clubs. The product is good. However, the brand isn't sophisticated. It's not like TaylorMade or Callaway. There's not a lot of meaning behind it. So here are some images I collected in my inspiration folder. I'm looking at the competitors. Callaway has a nice site. There's Ping's site. It's not very good. I found a bunch of images on Dribble. I thought these watercolors were interesting, but couldn't find enough of them to justify doing the style in that way. And I felt like illustrations would be a large departure for a sporting brand like this. It's not to say it couldn't be done, but I decided to do this in full color photo. Another reason is there's a lot of, they hire a lot of sports pros, golfing pros, and they want to get as much leverage out of them as they can. So of course they're going to want to use their photos whenever possible. So I found this really neat image. It's just this guy golfing. It's just a great photo. And I wanted this to be my hero shot. And similar to some of the other sites you may have seen, some of the other lessons, since the brand was weak, I wanted to have our take on what the brand could look like. So very first image would be brand, followed by product, and followed by, we'll see what's after that. So first things first, I'm just making this wider. I liked the image, but he was a little too close to the side. And I wanted him kind of just off center to the left. So this will get flipped once we save it. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's a lot easier to clone mountains than it is like buildings because you can fudge things, and it's there's no one to say that, oh, the mountain range doesn't look that way. There we go. So now he's just a little off center to the left. If you just divide that straight down the middle, he would be in the middle of the left section, I think. So I'm on to color. If you looked at the site, the current site, you would notice a lot of blacks, and there really wasn't much of a color scheme at all. And that's one of the reasons the brand was weak and it didn't mean much to people. So color was particularly important for this. And we wanted to get something nice that would elevate the brand. This is an example of a company that has... This is an easier project because the product is already good, and they're just bad at marketing it. So all we're doing is creating a good website to reflect the good product. It's a pain when the client has a bad product. You're just trying to make it look good, even though everyone knows it's bad. In the end, it's going to bite them. This is much better to highlight a product that's already good. So I've copied a bunch of colors down here, pasting them in there. Something I like to do is just put these little color swatches on top of a photo to see how it works with that photo. It's one thing to copy the colors and paste them off to the side, but like when it's on top of the photo, you can get a better sense of it. Taking a minute to work on the nav. They had a lot of categories in the nav. Usually when I'm doing a nav, there's not a lot of rhyme and reason to how big it'll be. Oftentimes it'll just be a response to like the hero image. So like maybe the hero is really big, so the nav is thin. For most things, I have a process for the nav. I kind of play it by ear. One thing I wanted to include here was a global marketing message. You've probably seen these. It's just like a push down. If they're having a sale or just want to trigger something, this would push down from the top. I think I found this image just by Googling, like Golf Pro or something. And of course we couldn't use this in a real site, but it's a good facsimile of what we want to use. So my first hero image is going to be a brand message, and then I want to follow that with some product. I've done this on a couple lessons, just like brand, product, brand, product. In most cases, that's because the brand was weak and we're trying to make it stronger. Usually wouldn't want a brand message and then another brand message on top of it, I would say, is a general rule of thumb. It keeps it, there's a nice contrast between each section. So it's not just visually different, it's like conceptually different. It's a brand message followed by a product. They're just two different concepts entirely. So for this section below, I'm thinking just highlight the most popular categories, and this would just be a different entry point into them other than the nav. These are all clubs I got from their website.